First of all, hi Marcus, how are you doing?
Good, good. Happy to be here.
Okay, I'd like to jump straight in.
Yeah.
Scream 2, should I see it as a sequel?
Yeah, for sure. When I did Scream 1, I started off just some ideas, started a little bit slowly, and towards the end of the project, I was just like, I was fully inspired, lots of great ideas, and everything was flowing really well. And released the album, and I still felt inspiration, I still felt like there was a lot more that I wanted to say. So rather than taking time off, I just continued working. And by the time the summer rolled around, I was like, wow, I have enough music here for another album. So that's when the idea of the sequel, Scream 2, came in, because it's a continuation of the ideas that I started in Scream 1. It's not like a brand new concept. It really is both albums together, the complete story of this chapter.
Can you explain what these ideas were?
Well, it was just, the one thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to make big room tracks that I can play in my sets, and that really just, I guess, more bold. And so, yeah, like I said, that was the whole idea into all of these tracks, just bold and great melodies and just, yeah, that was the idea.
How did this come through in the songwriting process, in approaching?
Yeah, like for example, on all of the vocals, I really wanted them to be like razor sharp, be a little bit edgy, not necessarily love songs, but I wanted them every song to have an edge. Like from Scream 1, the lyrics like is anybody listening? I can't scream any louder. That's really the attitude that I wanted to have. And tracks like Nothing Without Me on the last album kind of like were edgy. And then on this album, we did a continuation of that theme, like Erase You by the one, which I consider like the sequel to Nothing Without Me, with Victoria Horn, Lady V. To me, it's like, yeah, edgy, and then Revolution, which is, for me, the lyrics, it's about a new generation of clubbers, new generation of festival goers, and this is our revolution. We're taking over. That was kind of the idea. So you see, each one of these tracks are just very bold and really making a statement, and that was the idea behind the Scream concept, is everything bold, and we're making statements, and I hope people are listening.
Well, when you started this project, was there a certain thing that was going on in your life, why it was so bold, why it was so...
Yeah, you know what, there was, and at the time I just started feeling like, listen, first of all, let me say, I love trance music. I've never shied away from the fact that, I'm trance. But at the same time, I was just not, I thought that trance was getting tired. I'm just not into these 2-3 minute love songs, and crying and all that stuff. I want to have fun, So for me, it was like, and I'm not saying that stuff is bad. But there has to be if that's what's going to be, well, there has to be an alternative or a choice on the other side as well. And I really started moving towards that side. And so, yeah, I wanted to, I guess, make, at that time, I decided, I want to make more fun stuff. I want people to come to my shows and just like have fun and just, jump up and down and just have a great time. But at the same time, I love trance. I love these melodies. I got to try and figure out how to kind of put it all together, And that was really the idea behind the Scream project, is how can I take these beautiful melodies that I have inside of me, the emotional stuff, but at the same time, give it an attitude, give it some edge, because I really felt that at the time, I was even angry at trance for just, when I started the whole Scream project, it was just like love songs with, with violins and pianos and everything, and it's like, I don't know. For me, that's not what I wanted to do. That's not what I got into trance music for. And so I just wanted to do an alternative to that.
Right. Why do you think this happened, that some of the trance was moving away from from what it used to be, and then make it a bit more emotional, a bit more?
I don't know. You know, I don't really know why trance started getting so serious, but you know that's exactly what happened. Is it got too serious, and there wasn't fun in it anymore. You know, I mean, when I mean fun, it's like I love, you know, everybody loves listening to the songs, but where's the just kind of like, you know, tracks like BBE 7 Days in a Week, you know, which was, you know, a classic trance track. You know, where's tracks like that just kind of like, they're fun, you dance to them, and very simple, but just like, you know, they got a little bit of you know, there's something quirky about them. There was a lot of stuff like that back in the day. And, you know, that's what was missing. And you know, everything got too serious.
And I read about this Scream 2 album that it finds or it searches for a combination between music that is evenly well suited on mainstream radio, as well as that it appeals to the hardcore trance fans.
Yeah.
So is this what you mean by that you were looking for?
Yeah, well, I wanted it to, you know, I wanted the tracks to play well in the clubs. Plain and simple as that. And then as far as radio, you know, you always have to think about when you're doing an album, which tracks are going to be able to go on the radio, which tracks are going to be like the marquee tracks from the album. You know, it doesn't mean you're going to do a whole album of radio tracks, but you always have, when you're doing an album, you always have to keep in mind that a few tracks have to cross over or have some radio potential. So it was the challenge of making sure that it had those tracks on it to be able to appeal to that audience, but at the same time, when that audience kind of heard those tracks on the radio and wanted to learn a little bit more about me, when they started listening to the rest of the tracks, you got to have, you know, I wanted to have tracks on there that would convert those people to true fans.
Well, when you're writing the songs, do you know instantly which one will go to the more radio?
Well, you know, when I'm writing these tracks, I really don't think about anything except like getting the ideas out. It's in the production part where you say, you know, this track could really, really work well in this kind of a setting if I change this or change that. That's how it really works. But when I'm writing and you know, just kind of getting the ideas together, you know, you just want to get the ideas out.
And for most of the songs, you work together with vocalists. How much of a interaction is it with them, in terms of writing the lyrics and them having control about
Well,
it?
some of the tracks I would do like, you know, in sessions, you know, back and forth through online. But then there's some where I work very closely with the singers, like Adina Butar and I, we're always writing tracks. As a matter of fact, she doesn't get enough credit because on some of the tracks she actually helped with some of the melodies and things like that, even though she's not listed as a writer. But, you know, so with the singers and the songwriters on the album, there was a lot of close, you know, close work with them, especially because, you know, the idea was that I wanted an album with a specific energy, a specific message. So working closely with the songwriters and the singers is very important, because at the end of the day, when you have a track, the voice is just an instrument on that track as well. It's just as important as the kick drum or the bass line or the pads. You know, the voice is an instrument. So you want to make sure that that instrument has the message in it that you want to send out there.
How much of a search is it then to find the right vocalist for the right song? When you say it's like an instrument, the voice.
Well, for me, I like to discover new talent. I don't just go, you know, oh, I want to have this major artist singing and on this track and that major artist. Now, for me, it's about, you know, I'm constantly searching, trying to find new talent, because to me that's more exciting, and then nurture that new talent and kind of give that new talent, you know, a window into my world, and let them be inspired that way, and then see what comes out of it. That's really a special feeling when you're able to take somebody into your world and then them kind of translate in their own words their feelings and what they experienced.
Can you give me an example of this record where somebody who you found who wasn't really well known and you thought was really good?
Well, yeah, I mean, like Victoria Horn, for example, she's very successful and a songwriter. She's written a lot of tracks for a lot of people, but you know, she was a really big fan of Nothing Without Me, and we were talking about you know, working on this album, and I told her, I said, you know, it would be great to have a sequel to it. Like every great, you know, movie, you know, has to have a sequel. And since Scream 1 has this great edgy song which really resonates, I think we need to have a sequel to Nothing Without Me on Scream 2. So that's a perfect example of taking somebody, kind of bringing them into my world, into my headspace, and then letting them just run wild with the ideas.
Right. Is this then the conclusion of the series?
Yeah, I think now I'm starting to think about some Dakota tracks, and also, you know, right now I'm A&Ring a lot of remixes for the album, and even going to try and get some of the tracks from Scream 1 remixed. But you know, it's probably a conclusion to the Scream chapter. However, you know, the attitude, the rebellious kind of like, you know, feelings that I have are still very much alive in me. Yeah, the attitude will, in my future releases, will still reflect, you know, what it is that I'm feeling inside.